What's up everybody, welcome back for another video. This one's going to be more randomness with PCs, specifically our HP Z400 workstation that we picked up from a local shop for only 15 bucks right off a shelf. So let's go ahead and roll our intro and get right into it. Let's go. URCD Key has discounted codes for games and software that are a fraction of what you would pay if you purchased them from a retail store. More specifically, they have great prices on their Microsoft Office 2016 bundle that comes with a Windows 10 license as well. If that's not enough, you can also use my promo code RAV20 to receive 20% off the already discounted price. Just type in your product you're looking for, add it to the cart, view your cart, head to the checkout, type in my promo code, once again RAV20, and see the sweet savings appear. Check the links in the video description to learn more. Alright, so I had a few thoughts about our last video and did some searching around about this system that I stumbled upon last time I went to this, used PC shop. And it turns out that this computer might actually be a little more than meets the eye. So in this video, I'm going to test something really quick that just popped into my mind because of a few parts that I have laying around. But first, I want to circle back to our last video when I started kind of pulling the parts out of it and just kind of exploring the PC and explain what that weird card was that I could not figure out what it was for the life of me. It turns out that that card was actually a fiber channel controller card, and I found out that they were, well, and probably still are, a storage connectivity solution in enterprise data centers. So I really wasn't too far off with what I said in the last video, and I was just guessing. But anyway, I just wanted to clear that up since literally I had zero idea what it was in the last video. Now back to the Z400 rig. So after testing out the GT720 in Dota 2 in the last video and seeing that the performance was, well, okay, I guess, I decided we should take it a step further and add an upgrade or two. So in this video, we're gonna be throwing in an HD 7850 from AMD that I got off the used market for 20 bucks and kind of just had it laying around, so I decided to use it, as well as 4 gigabytes more memory, bringing our total system memory to 8 gigs, though it's only clocked at 1066 megahertz. The good thing about this upgrade is that we already have a 475 watt power supply in the machine with a bronze efficiency rating, and most important of all, a PCIe power cable. So all we have to do is slot in our GPU and connect the cable. Same for the memory, we just have to choose the appropriate slot and slot it in. Now we can plug the machine in and go for a test boot, and just like that, it works. New memory and GPU installed, so now let's test a few games. First, we'll start with our 3D Mark benchmarks, Skydiver and Firestrike. And as you can see here, we get a score of 7747, which really isn't that good because if you see in our Ryzen 3 3200G build and our 2200G build with just the Vega 8 graphics, those beat this system, so yeah. Not that good. And in Firestrike, we finally see a win for the Xeon system, just beating out the 3200G with integrated graphics that we've built previously. Next, we'll run Dota 2 again, running at 1080p low settings. And in this run, you can see that we're getting about an average of like 54, 55 FPS, maybe a little bit lower. And you can really see how hard our Xeon W305 is working, as it is really being taxed up to 100% a lot of the times, and really our graphics card's sitting there at about 25% utilization. So we can really see that bottleneck starting to happen in one of these older games right here, where the CPU was actually used quite a bit. Moving on, we'll run Csgo at 1080p medium settings. And this play experience was absolutely atrocious. As you can see, we're really struggling to even average about 40 FPS. And there's a bunch of stutters and screen tearing everywhere, as you can see in the 1% lows. And again, we can see that our dual core processor is seriously being overtaxed, while our GPU is just sitting there really not doing much. So again, we see another example of where the CPU was heavily being used in one of these older games. Next, let's head into Doom Eternal at 1080p low settings. And as expected, we're not really seeing a super smooth play experience here, but at some points we're able to get over 30 FPS and sometimes even getting up to 40, maybe 45. But the real issue here is that from the start, we are already running into a VRAM issue with this game, as we are already in the red from the very start, even at low settings in this game. So the cool thing is that even on a system like this, you can still run the game, but is it a really enjoyable play experience? Not really at all. Now lastly, I wanted to try the Rise of the Tomb Raider benchmark that we always do, but it just simply wouldn't start. I tried a few times, and mostly due to having only 2 total system cores or even some kind of VRAM issue, because we only have 2 gigabytes of that on the HD 7850, it just wouldn't start. All right, I know those benchmarks were pretty lackluster, and to be honest, I kind of expected this to happen, as 2 of our games were a bit older and pretty much more CPU dependent than GPU dependent. And because of that, we could clearly see that the CPU bottleneck was happening pretty bad, and we were running into it pretty crazy with our dual-core Xeon W3503, as it was pretty much pinned at 100% in both Dota 2 and Csgo the entire time we did those benchmarking runs. So what have we learned from this quick experiment? Well, I learned that sometimes just simply dropping in a few new components isn't always the best route to go with in certain systems, and honestly it usually isn't, unless you have a specific upgrade that you need to make and you know it's going to work. And maybe we can actually take this system a bit further and do a little bit more research and testing. So that's exactly what we'll be doing in the next video of this series. I actually have already done a bit of digging and figured out that we can further upgrade this CPU to a 4-core or even a 6-core. We can also upgrade the memory to 16 gigabytes or even a little bit more to 32 if we want, of 1333 megahertz basically. And we can even give it a stronger GPU with more VRAM to handle those more recently released titles that require that. And you know what? I'll probably even throw in an SSD to speed up the overall snappiness of the machine as well. But of course, for all that, we have to hop online and search the used market, eBay, and Amazon for the components we need, and we'll be installing everything in a future video with new benchmarks as well. So if you like this idea, make sure you give the video a like, and if you have suggestions on what we should actually put in this machine, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to check out what you guys have to say and what your ideas are. Also, if you want to make sure you see this next video I'm going to make on this, be sure to get subscribed and turn those notifications on so you'll know exactly when I upload it. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. Have a great day.